When I was in the afterlife with the Creator and I met him as Prince, one of the things that he showed to me was this code. It's the 1914 code, or Pi code. Even though he sang the song 1999 in its shortest reduced form, it's 91, or PI, part of the Pi code. But if you look in the middle of the word 19, it's 6 cross 666, or ET. Now, when you consider the word elite, it's ET-lie. The letters are just in a different order. So the word alien is A-lie-in. So there's a lie in their story. Elite is ET-lie. And the word 19 has ET right in the middle of it with the 666. And remember, Prince, Rogers, Nelson, they each have 6 letters. So 666. He's going to be accused of being an alien antichrist. That's what he told me in the afterlife. But I also want to mention something to you. EGG, egg. You see how 6s and 9s can look different? It's like when you're playing cards and you throw out all the cards and you can see it from all the angles. Sometimes it looks like a 6, sometimes a 9. But it can also be an E or a G. And that's why he had the egg at Paisley Park. EGG. Also, when you look at the name Prince R. Nelson, what you see right here in the middle is CERN, C-E-R-N, for the collider in Switzerland. They say they're studying the God particle. CERN is the reason it is named that. Also, check out the word Luciferian. And yes, I know it's misspelled. However, there is the C, the E, the R, and the N. That's how the spelling works. So also in the middle is fear. Within the word Lucifer, you have the word life, and obviously Lucifer represents the opposite of life. Super important is Lu, or L-U-C-I, here in the beginning for Lucy. Lucy is part of the female Lilith portion of Lucy, or Lulu, and it's also the reason the Vatican is adopting a mascot, a cartoon mascot named what else? Lucy, L-U-C-E. You see how the E's and the I's are all interchangeable. Our vowel system, our words, our English language, it just casts spells. That's why they call it spelling. So when I say Lucy, they mean Lilitu or Lilith or Lucy. And guess what else Lucy appears in? The word Ku Klux Klan. When you look at it, it's got Lu here in the first part, Ku Klux. So it's Lu. So the name Lulu appears in Ku Klux Klan. And I also want to point out to you that the word Klan, spelt with a K, K-L-A-N, K-L-A-N is the same as K-A-I-N, which is the same as C-A-I-N for Cain. Ku Klux Klan, or Vatican, which is why they're using the Lucy emblem, because they're all referencing evil. These are just some of the ways that the Creator told us who he was, who he was going to be made out to be. Even before I met him in the afterlife, I had watched him, listened to him at that time for about 30 years. It's been 40 now, but when I died it was about 30. When I met him as the Creator, I can tell you it wasn't really that surprising to me, because along with me listening to the Prince music all my life, the other thing that I did was sought God. I wanted a leader for my family. I wanted somebody to thank, to talk to love. I knew that I recognized the Creator in me, and therefore I wanted to find him. And so when I met him in the Space Place Afterlife, and he showed himself to me in one of his images as Prince, because our world is very different than we've been taught. So I don't know. I saw him in lots of different images, and Prince was only one of them. So it's just a body that he used and other people used, and it's just an image, and that's why he says, should I become naked? No image at all. In the question of you, if I sell my soul, how much will it cost? Because he was one of the music people that we knew that had to sign the contract to do the music in order to get me the message, because he knew, because he's the Creator, when he told me all these things in the afterlife, that I had looked for him as both God and listened to the music, which led me to my Bible, to the scriptures. What I came here to say is that's the reason why he would use, this was a concert, I think, called the Trojan Horse concert here, because if you think about the Troy, the Trojan horse, the horse that they snuck in, and then all the army jumped out and attacked him right in it. Well, the one we know here as Prince is like the ET alien. The Vatican's always talking about exposing, isn't there ETs, you guys? Am I calling the creator an ET? No. What I'm saying is when I was in the afterlife, I met him. I saw him as the Ancient One. I experienced, I think, all my lifetimes. He showed me my soul purpose, and I experienced all my lifetimes. And I was seeing things from the Sea of Souls, the Insof, until redemption. I know things about my own so-called death and my sons. I was told a lot of things. I've experienced paranormal things over the last 4 years, what we call paranormal. Found out they're actually quite normal. We just don't usually see them. I'm going to back out of the way. This is a picture of me in the spring of 2020 in my bedroom by myself playing the electronic keyboard. I was singing songs, learning Purple Rain, and this image you can see is something else in the room with me that appears to be on or about my face. I've had lots of crazy things happen to me, and this is just one of them. This is how I know for certain that the things that I'm saying to you are true, because for me this has been a 4.5 year process, and I'm just now trying to put it into words. So because I saw the Creator as the Ancient One, I saw him on his throne chair. He told me about his past lifetimes as like Da Vinci and King David and Adam and Eve, and just we're not supposed to know these things about ourselves from lifetime to lifetime. But the trippy thing about that isn't just the different forms that he can take, it's that throughout all these reincarnations he's been used and abused and tortured. I want to get back to the code. I know that was kind of a strange segue. Pineal, as in the third eye, our awareness of God, a gift. If you do the gematria to it, you can see the P as a 9. You can see the I as a 1. N is the 14th letter, that's a 4. E and A, they can be a 6 and a 6. And then L, like I said, is the 12th letter, but it equals 3. What you can see in that is the 1914 code. You can also see egg, E-G-G. Now, what's the relevance of the 1914 code other than it matches up to the code of our pineal gland? World War I started in 1914. World War II started in 1939. The pineal gland awareness of our Creator is what has been stolen from us, which is the reason that the Paisley Park logo was made in the same shape as our brain and brain stem. It's to refer to the awareness of God, the awareness of himself. So everything he did was for a reason. But because I have been watching for 40 years, it was like being brainwashed with the lyrics and the music and the rhythm and even memorizing the live concerts. I'm telling you that the one that we knew and know as Prince Rogers Nelson, with 666 for the name, and the one they plan on calling the Antichrist and so forth, it's the whole reason for the electric fetus name. Because really think about what I'm saying. Electric fetus. Something that can live inside of someone, a soul, and be alive by electric. Pick up any magazine, read any article, they all refer to Prince as being electrifying, and the electrifying band, the electrifying performances. It's always electrifying. Because as the Creator being studied at CERN as the God particle, he is the source. He is the life source. It's exactly who I met in the space place afterlife.
All the ladies call me Electric Man. Electric Man.
So anyway, back to the bad guys. These Akkadians and Sumerians and Assyrians, Babylonians, referring to Lilu and Lilitu, or just Lulu. Check out what Kirk had to say. So here's Kirk in 2015. Kirk Johnson is allegedly Prince's right-hand man, best man at his wedding, all that. He's out there hanging in Cali with his daughter, and he says, ooh, look, Lulu. I believe he's referring to this red symbol right here, though I can't be 100% certain. So remember, what he's doing here is showing his allegiance to the Lulu, to the vampire tradition of Lilith, because the Lucifer Lulu is a very female entity. This female entity goes by the name Tika or Tika. You can see her AKA here at the top. I found it interesting, to say the least, that her middle name is Evene, Evene. If you turn the N upside down, it reads Eve back and forth both ways, as if she is calling herself the Eve to the Adam that I told you about in the reincarnated lifetimes. I don't like speaking ill of anyone because I don't remember 100 gajillion% of what I was told in the afterlife. But what I was told in the afterlife is something to do with twins and or triplets. I'm not sure. Something to do with me, something to do with her, and something to do with Prince and other worlds. Worlds that have been created for us holographically, like as mentioned in the Wall of Berlin. Check this out.
Galaxy of monumental delight, or parallel hologram copyright. Where am I? Universe of paradoxical design, reality and merely in the mind.
Now, because I've received my messages in a variety of ways over the last 4.5 years, I made these drawings in early 2020 when the creator, he would just give me messages and I would write them down, like Alice appears as all lies, ALLIES, or C, all lies, Alice in Wonderland. And then you can see here on the other side where I would write all lies, and it came out as ET lies or elite. I've been getting these messages for a long time, and the reason you see the SETI, SETI acronym up here is because at that time I was checking out David Greer, and his acronym is SETI, and it has something to do with him claiming he can talk to aliens. So it was being told to me that it was all lies. What the lies have to do with is false religion, the KKK being in control of that false religion in order to sell us Lucy and the Vatican. They need to control our awareness of who our Creator is, and that is done through a myriad of ways. But I need to get back to the pineal, because within the word pineal, I showed you earlier how it codes out to 914663 or egg. Now, if you take out the duplicates, you have 314 pi. 314 equals pi, and that's where we get our 314 equals pi equation, which is extremely relevant. The 314 equals pi equation that we've been taught in America, that equals the ratio of the circumference of a circle 3 1/4 time or something like that, is complete nonsense. It's just like the fairy tales and limericks. If you think about it, you have the Grim Reaper and you have Grimm's fairy tales. Everything that we've been taught is upside down. So anyway, this is one of the math boards that I wrote early on. And what I wanted to show you was that in the 314 equals pi equation, the 4 can look like an upside down 6 or an upside down 9, which is why you see 369 written here. Within that, you can have the 1914 code that I was telling you about. It's a lot to look at. It's why they call us as American as apple pie, because if you code it out and bring down the 1 and the 1 and the E, it's LLE or LIE for lie, and then you bring down the 6 and the 9 as an A and a P. You know how they try to say we're descended from apes and all that? So you can see that it's a 6, a 9, and an E, and an apple. This is how the spelling and the casting spells work. So the 314 equals pi has a great significance, but just know that they're referring to our pineal gland, our awareness of God, of Hashem, and the fact that they're abusing it. It all refers to the awareness of Hashem, because that's where our DMT and our awareness and the gift of Hashem aside from our soul is at. So they call it pi. This is very important, and it has to do with the song Purple Rain, I believe. When you look at 314 equals pi, there's no 2. There's a 1 and a 3 and a 4, but there's no 2. The song Purple Rain is written in a suspended 2 chord. It means when he's playing the first, he goes 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then that other one is the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and he holds out the note and suspends the 2 chord. Also, if you look at this in reverse gematria, you have 31 is 13, and then if you add what's in the middle, the 314 pi as 2 4s, then you have 8. So you have 13, 18 going both ways. And that's relevant to the date of Halloween today or tomorrow, among other things. I want to show you something a little simpler. If you write down 314 pi, 3 is equal to C, the I is carried down as a 1 or an I, and 4 equals D, so it's C-I-D. Then, as we discussed earlier, C and K can make the same noise, so K takes the place of the C, and you have K-I-D, ID19, the kid. So on the date of 4/21/2016, if you suspend the 2's and read it upside down, you have 914, the 1914 code. You see what I'm saying? Take out the 2's, 914. It's not only that. If you add 4 and 2, you get 6. 2 and 1, you get 3. 2 and 1, you get 3. Bring down the other 6. It reads Bob, B-O-B, George, G-E, or the 9-3 code. And I've explained the George, the G-E, many times, and it's why he showed Bob George as a bad guy in the Love Sexy Tour era. So the date of death, 4/21/2016, under the cherry moon, was a pre-planned date that suspended the 2 and was the Queen's 70th Jubilee anniversary and 90th birthday. It has everything to do, I believe, and what I remember, with why Pope Francis, his real name is George, or Jorge, J-O-R-G-E, or G. J, it's G-E or G-E, which we actually have two. We have that here, G-E or G-E. You never really had a choice. It's two sides of the same coin. Two-party system, you know, that thing. The 314 equation with the suspended 2 even comes over here to the word fam. If you have followed Prince, you know that it was well known that instead of calling his fans fans, they said your fam, because he didn't like the word because it was short for fanatic. Because fam in reverse is maf, as in mafia. Considering that F is the 6th letter, A is the 1st letter, M is the 13th letter, and in reverse 6 is a 9 and 3 plus 1 equals 4, then you have the 314, which is circled in red, or equals pi, because you have a 6 and a 9 on either side over here. The pi goes this way and that way, much like a crossword puzzle. The 1914 code and the 314 equals pi can even be found in the word 19. Consider the N is the 14th letter, I is the 9th. I brought that down as a 1, so if you brought it down as a 9, it would be part of the 1914 code or 1939. But in this case, it just repeats, and I showed you earlier how if you do these as a small e, you have 666 or ET right in the middle of the 19. A code like these are codes. This is another drawing board that I don't even know if I should be sharing. I can't explain everything that is here right now. It would take up too much time. However, if you look at the word vampire, V is the 22nd letter, so that equals 4. A, 1. M is the 13th, so you just bring down the 3. 1s are disposable, like vowels. If you wonder why I never account for the 1s, it's because they're disposable. They repeat, and you can just get rid of them. So, again, in the word vampire or electric eternal soul, V, 22nd for 4, A is for 1, M is for 13, P is the 16th, bring it down as a 6, I is 9. The reason I put R as a 9 is because it's the 18th letter, but 1 plus 8 is 9. So 413 equals pi because the 6996 duplicates or becomes the p in pi. So it's 314 equals pi. So I don't know how this thing works. This is one of the boards that the creator was exposing to me, talking about occult and how OK and occult are the same up here at the top. He was explaining the calculations to Korach, Hashem's enemy. Over here, the 6-9 or OR is because O is the 15th letter, but that equals 6, and R is the 18th letter, but that equals 9. The 6-9 is equal to OR, which in Hebrew, OHR or OR is equal to light. Now also the VT that you see, the Vav Tet up here, the explanation of the 6-9 in Hebrew, Vav is the number 6 and Tet is the number 9. So the VT in Vatican stands for the 6-9, or the or in GE or GE or the 6-9 or the vampires. Now also what you have, I said I wasn't going to explain it, but I guess I am. In the word vampire, what you have, electricity, we talked about electric man earlier, and electricity is measured in amperes. It's like amps. We see it as amps all the time here in America, AMP. It's always abbreviated, but it's amperes. Now I want you to consider what we talked about earlier with the name Lucifer or fear, because this has fear right in the middle, but with a PH, like fat. So that's how our English language works. Again, it casts spells, and so fear is what they're measuring. They're using the DMT from the pineal gland, because that's where the melatonin and DMT, our God awareness, is at. This is why we have all the children in sexual trafficking, and I've taught about adrenochrome before. I don't want to get too deep on it now because I don't want my videos cut. This amperes here is also the reason that Prince sang the word pheromones. Discovery board, that's right. A lot of times, most of the time, these things just come to me inside my head, or I'll start writing and the letters spin, and it's like electric word life. The same 314 equals pi equation can be found in the name Merovingian. That's the 13th Illuminati bloodline. I'm not going to go letter by letter, but you can see M is the 13th, and I carry it down. Sometimes you'll see the E as a 3 because that's the way it works. You'll also see the R as a 3 because sometimes the R shows as a 1, 2 equals 3. So a lot of those codes are specific to what the name is, and it can be used, like I said, in different ways to the best of my understanding. I want you to notice GIAN are the last 4 letters, and that's for the giant in David and Goliath. Now, if you look at the GI, the opposite of that is 19. See, GI or 19, ID 1991, we talked about it earlier, remember? Now, A is equal to 1, and N is the 14th. So within the Merovingian name, we have the 1914. I just want to show you that the ones that Prince referred to lyrically as M&M killers playing Mickey Mouse games is this bloodline. It's the 3K, the MK. It's also why the name Meron Bakir in the file was used, because Meron is literally part of the name. So now when you see the word fam and you see the number 13, the 13th family, you'll know just who we're talking about. Here, Kirk says, wow, played last night in the White House, met the family. What a highlight. And this sign back here says, live by the bomb, die by the bomb. I just thought that was kind of interesting. Big white mansion. Here he is right around that same time, swagging out at Tiffany & Co., partying with the family. And get this, his daughter Kayla Johnson, who he was constantly on the phone with in telecommunications, she was trying out for the Minnesota Timberwolves, and her number on her waist is 314. Again, it's all a big show, and they're all in on it, and they're all trying to play innocent. The thing about Kirk you may not know is that he is really short, as you can see with the women, and I believe that, I'm always talking about lookalikes and clones, that he was playing Prince as well. He also was using the jets, the Dassault Falcons and the jets to fly out members of Lifetime Fitness who he worked for, which is why you see him with these women here. The pilots told us that Lifetime Fitness chartered the jets all the time when new stores would open, and they took on big parties of people. So Kirk is guilty of working with the family. Kirk is so close with the family that this can be found online. His Facebook post showed Carrie Metz. She is Mark Metz, the Minnesota prosecutor, Mark Metz. His wife is on his Facebook page saying, she said, "Go on with your bad self." I can't think of the government, the legal jargon for why that's illegal, but she and him fraternizing when there's an investigation going on, when she's the county prosecutor's wife, that isn't supposed to be happening. I don't care if they worked out at the gym together or not. How convenient is that? Because he was playing one of the lookalikes. There are many, but he was one of them. Kirk has many faces. They all do. He's a thinker. And yes, I am suggesting that this is him. And in this old NPG photo, Prince is looking right at him. I'm always talking about the breakdown. And if you consider the song 3121 and look at the BRK for breakdown, this is what I want you to do. Look at the B as a 13. Look at the R as a 1 and a 2. So you have 3121. And then K is equal to 11. So remember I told you the ones repeat. So basically the BRK, the breakdown, is equal to 3121. Now flip that B on its side and it becomes an M. The K is carried over and it's R for MK Ultra. It's MK Ultra M&M Killers Mark Metz playing Mickey Mouse games. 3K, KKK. And that's why the Eck Center is across the street from Paisley Park.
Keep breaking me down, down, down.
Sounds like after the camera stopped rolling, the party continued at the White House.
Well, what is true is we had some good parties at the White House. Woo! I mean, part of it is the fact that, you know, we had amazing people like Bruce who were willing to play. And it turns out that folks, if they're at a good party, they don't want to go home even when it's the White House. So it would go late sometimes.
Oh, yeah.
And people misbehaved in ways I would not have expected under the portrait of George Washington and Martha Washington.
Did anyone turn you down? Was there anyone you couldn't get?
He did technically turn us down the first time, and that was Prince.
Wow.
Before I let you go, I need to speak to you about something that concerns me in the 1914 Code. This is Charles Taze Russell, founder of the Kingdom Hall. And they're the ones that predicted that Christ would return in 1914. And when that didn't happen, then he corrected himself to say that is the time that his Jesus Christ came to inspect and cleanse the watchtower, resulting in Jesus choosing it and only it in 1919. The watchtower has also been accused of hiding ancient Enochian occult messages in their magazines. And I've told you before, it's why Prince, Jimi Hendrix, and Bob Dylan sang all along the watchtower. This is their conference hall in Denmark, and you can see that it's in the shape of the all-seeing eye, which is why you would always see in the later years the imitation prince wearing the clothing with the eye and the secrecy. They're referring to the pineal gland awareness that they are controlling, have been controlling, but no more. Looking at the word Halloween, you can see the mathematical code. H is the 8th, A, which I lovingly replaced with an E, is the first letter. The L's are the 12th letter, so that equals 3. O is the 15th, that equals 6. W is the 23rd, we suspend the 2, like I mentioned earlier. The EE is 33, and then the N is 14. So within the gematria code for Halloween, you have 813 or 1318, and you also have the GE or GE code, and you also have the 314 equals pi code. That to me is a bit concerning, as tomorrow is Halloween. Now, please take your eyes to the center where it says 1031-224. 1 and 3 equals 13, and 224 equals 8. Bring over the other 1 and you have 13:18 for Revelation 13:18. The reason it says 4:30:21 at the top is because I myself experienced something very deep and painful on April 31st of 2021, and the date coded out to 4321. When you look at today's date, 10/30/24, it has the same numerals, 4321, just in a different order. When you look at Halloween, 10/31/224, and suspend the 2's, you have 1314, which is the 413 equals pi equation, or 13:18. Look at the word Halloween. Within it, we can find NWO, reverse and backward, 33rd gematria, the hall for Kingdom Hall, or is it hell? HE, double hockey sticks.
Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name.